Good evening, free enterprise fans, and welcome to another race in the Adamant Cup group stages. Today, we've got microKorgs at 4-0 facing off against former champion Dustygriff, who has been pulling a 2-1 so far in the Dragoon Helm group. I'm Neon Gray. With me is some guy, Inveterable. How you doing today?
I'm doing great, Neon. Really looking forward to this match. This has been an exciting group to watch. Like you said, the former champ took an early tumble, but has come back strong. 2-0 since that opening match and is looking to, reassert his former authority. But Korg's just been clean sweeping his way through this group, and a win today means that he has the first place in the Dragoon Helm group. No need for a play-in match, no need for a tiebreaker. Korgs would love to get this win today.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a super competitive group. Just getting that secure progression into the brackets phase would be fantastic.
Yeah. And looking at the landscape of the seed that our restreamer Nyabari has rolled, shoutouts to Nyabari on the restream and shoutouts to Warlink handling the tracking. Kind of a low key item count looking at this objective. Kind of got a little counterfeiting going on between the Falcon, the Rat Tail, and the Pink Tail. All three of those require the hook. And also not a single lunar altar objective. We do have complete the Giant of Babel. So that's a little bit of a time sink, but nothing that actually says go to a moon altar. So our runners aren't going to be able to say, well, let me go do my objectives and hopefully get the key items I need, at least with regard to the moon. So you think we're going to see a whole lot of Earthbound running this match?
I mean, I think that's what you hope for with an objective distribution like this, but, this has come up a few times throughout the group phases, and I think a lot of the time, when you get these really earthbound objective sets, you're still gonna be sent up to the moon to get something. It happens fairly often with the real tight bottlenecking on that hook. Maybe not this time, but we will see how it goes.
Absolutely.
We do have one of my favorite objective pairs here. I've talked a few times about just loving the Launch the Falcon objective in general. Really makes you, as a viewer, hope for a Magma key. But you pair that with that Giant of Babel requirement, and, you can get a really nice smooth loop popping down and then looping down underground from there.
Oh yeah, always remember if you intend to come back to the Giant, and you can leave that hovercraft down the hook route, chaining those into each other, so nice. Let's see here, Sid is paired with Edward, a starting Magma key. We will be hunting for that hook wherever it may be. And Dark Elf at Beigen. Starting Magma key, how quickly do you head underground on this lag set, Neon?
Not immediately, but if only because I think time and time again we've found it's generally shown that putting off getting your free key item from Edward in Troya, you really want to do that ASAP. But for me, I like to go underground really quick and just get the free sweeps first. And that can inform things like, how early do I want to go to Fabul, that kind of thing.
Yeah, we do see both runners heading directly to Bedward. Not going to check anywhere else yet. And let's see if he offers a little direction. I think a pan here would result in a much faster underground than some other stuff, obviously.
That is not a pan.
Yeah, Life Staff, the best white mage stat stick in the game, plus 15 to your cures and your holies and things of that nature. Dusty gonna take the public treasury. Korg saying, nah, we have a Magma key. I got better loot elsewhere. Let's skedaddle.
That is, yeah, both are really very valid here. I do like, in general, the public treasury checks. I feel like I have not checked the actual math, but I feel like you're getting something similar out of there as you would out of a Damsian basement check. You're a decent, like, mid-tier cluster, maybe get a usable piece of equipment, something you can sell, J items.
Yeah, we did pick up a Grimoire and a Crystal Ring. Grimoire pretty handy early game, a weaker multi-target boss, just high roll one of the damage summons. No chocobos, please, no chocobos. And Crystal Ring is fantastic piece of gear start to finish. Dragon defense, speed boost, love to see those.
Yeah, and, just high regular defense, high magic defense, just slapping one of those things on, like, the agility aside, just using it as a piece of equipment without the stat buffs alone, that can straight up protect you against, like, an antlion spot, which, it's not a spot you worry about, but if you can come out of it clean hit points wise, you're not going to Fabool just for a heal.
Yep. And both runners we see, Dusty did a little bit of shopping, found Star Veils and I believe life potions as well in Troya, two very handy items on a seed. Korgs is already in the Fey March, heading to his freebies, picking up some loot on the way. Can I call down a commentator's curse?
Always.
Come on, pan in Antlion. Pan in Antlion.
Oh, that would be so good.
I love that we did start with a Zeus Rage and an exit door in our starting items. So I wonder when our runners will elect to use those, because no sign of a white mage yet, and even if you do get Rosa, getting exit is dependent upon clearing Tower Zod. So choosing the key moment to use that can save a lot of time on one of these seeds.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've got a lot of good options. We've got a music check to make. Obviously, you want an exit there. Exiting right out of Fey March after peeking the bosses is fantastic. Maybe less of a priority because you do have a relatively quick way out. But you've got that. You've got leaving Antlion. So many good places just to yeet your own self out of.
Yeah, and we find a Murasame in one of these untrapped chests down here, showing the power of T Wildish loot. Blizzard Spear, of course, earlier in the cave. At this point, both racers would be very happy if they find either an Edge or a Cane up on Hob, just be able to give them really good gear right at the outset and start damaging your way through that overworld.
Yeah, both of our racers looking to relatively thoroughly be looting Fey March here. I like this in general. I feel like what you're trying to accomplish with this is trying to delay going to Emblem. It's such an important check on this flag set, but in general, if you have to go twice, you don't want to have to do that. So if you can try and put that off, that's great.
And we are now only 1 for 3 on K main, giving us key items. The starting Magma key, then between that Life Staff from Bedward and the Gungnir from the Vanilla Rattail chest, that's 2 things that are moved over to the Summon and Moon pools already. Where are the key items? Where are they hiding?
Yeah, when I have 2 big misses like that, that's when I start narrowing my eyes and I start hissing to myself.
We do see a Mom Bomb and a Magus Sisters here. Very punchy, tons of HP Mom Bomb at that Leviathan spot. Magus Sister spells doing very legitimate damage at the Asura one. I think
I hate it.
Yeah, you're definitely going to want to find... well, the bright side about the Magus Sister that spot is it is just a combined 23,000 HP. So you get a good Rydia with a summon, Palom with Quake, Foo. It's not going to be that rough, but supplementing that with some anti-mage weaponry will make that a lot easier if we have to come back here.
Yes, and of course, too, it is a very fast spot with, for that fight, it's got 3 actors going, so you're going to need a fair bit of it's going to take a bit just to be able to survive long enough to get your theoretical Leviathan off.
Yeah, and although I complain about Mom Bomb at that spot, Cecil is still in the character pool and group stage. Mom Bomb only knows one thing, and that is punch. Well, until the explosion, of course. So cover strats, blink strats, both very viable for getting through that fight. But, I don't see a Feymarch fight on our objective list. I would not feel compelled to do either of those anytime soon.
Yeah, I am not coming back to that unless I start looking at things and going, ugh, I should come back to that.
Like, where's my Darkness Crystal? Why is there no Darkness Crystal yet? Oh, is it in the... Oh.
Yeah. Both very solvable fights, neither fights you want to take unless you have to.
Yeah. Korg's here doing a little shop loop of the underworld. S standard means that lots of nice J-items are available, theoretically. Some seeds may not roll them, but Bacchus Wine, Hourglasses, Sirens for an early quick grind. Not that either of these party members really benefit from it. It's already kind of okay for the overworld, and Eddie needs a little more gear and a little more help.
Yeah, I found Sirens in Dwarf. microKorgs, just picking up small couple bundles of them there.
Yeah, spending all the money on it. That is kind of grind assured. Hey, have a bonus. Got a freebie.
Yeah, free with purchase.
So, Korgs does have Hourglasses, does have Sirens, could, if he wanted to, go ahead and take a couple of eggs for levels, but again, I just don't feel that this is a team that really wants it just yet. I think we may wait to see who our Baron character is, who our Hobbs character is, and then consider, because 4,000 a pop, they are kind of a pricey investment if you're not getting full value from them.
Yes, Dustygriff, checking our job, Dwarf, criminal justice professor, I think?
Looked like it. And the Dwarf's double blocking the door. Like, this is your punishment for memeing. This is serious business.
Didn't you hear there was a race going on? Korg's leaving Dwarf, though, and going to head up. Heading towards Fabul, I think. Oh,
gotta check that
perfect.
Hobbs character. Now, I will note, this team is at 1 HP apiece. We do start with a little supply of Cure 2s and a few tents.
Yes, and we do have some clothes for these characters as well, which Sid at least is going to appreciate. Eddie, he's not doing anybody any good right now anyway.
And accordingly, I think Dusty did the shopping route, but did Dusty not go to Sylph Cave yet? I don't think he did.
I think he did.
Okay. So maybe based on this play into Damsian, he might be trying to fade Fabul and those checks until you get the pan, but who knows? And a nasty boss fight here on Hobbs, but it comes with an edge. And we talked about that Murasame and some of the other gear. This is going to be a very strong overworld team.
Yes, and you know what? Just seeing that Ogopogo vacationing up on Mount Hobbs today, that is a real vacation for the monster of Lake Okanagan.
Isn't that? Haven't they concluded that it's just people saw some like otters playing at a distance?
Oh, that's what all lake cryptids are, really.
Ah, gotcha. For what it's worth, I think it would be great to see a sprite replacement of Ogo. Eventually in someone's fan mod that is actually just an entire horde of otters fighting against the team.
You know what? You could probably even do that with the current sprite. You could just edit from there. It's kind of shaped. If you change the snake look to like otters, because they're shaped kind of like swirling otters.
All right. Gonna get our best pixel artists on this. Let's see. So Korg's Edge does have a that Murasame. Offhand has a silver knife. Not exactly the dream.
We've all given Edge worse.
That's true. Dusty did get a second rune axe out of the Damsian basement, so we're loaded for anti-mage stuff. Val here, kind of one of the more annoying spots for her, just because early game you frequently don't have enough power to get through this. As we see Sid completely whiffing there. Edge here is going to take about 7 hits to get through if you're doing 250 a pop. Might be having to look and fling some of that cutlery. We got that Gungnir kicking around, right?
Yeah, that really seems like the thing to do here. Fun trivia for people. this specific boss, Velvelis here at Fabul Gauntlet, is in fact the exact reason why she cannot be gaining your soul underground access. Because, look at this, we've got to bring an edge to the table to even do chip damage to her.
Yeah, and chip damage it is. Seeing these 200 to 250 rolls each time, and that's from the middle slot even, so even with an accuracy boost. Whiffed a few there, only 139.
Feels real bad.
Yeah, I wonder though, like the degree to which you are willing to sacrifice, because the Gungnir Spear is the best weapon you can buy for Kayn outside of Kakol's shop. Worth a pretty penny. Throwing it here? I mean, you can always just reset if the king doesn't give you any value, right?
Yeah, that's very true. It looks like Korgs is just doing it now in the fight. That's, I feel like if you were going to do it, a bit earlier would have been better, but he was really running out of time looking at him now.
Yeah, like, I think that Sid is fully petrified, so Edge was all alone, couldn't keep up healing and damage, so hey, you do what you gotta do. But given the levels of this team, I don't think I would have no qualms resetting if this is junk. Hey,
like
it's
a
junk.
firebomb. He keeps the XP though, so.
But Edge didn't gain a level. Sid didn't gain a level. Eddie was dead. Get your Gungnir back. Come on.
Yeah, I think I would rather have the spear, to be honest. But
what a rude Val. Not only to be at this spot with such. Wait, what is this? Oh. That's 2 more K main spots come up whammy. Firebomb and Lightning Bolt. That's not what we did it. Yamari, where did you put the key items?
On the moon. They're on the moon.
You can have 1 darkness crystal as a treat. Everything else you gotta go to the moon for.
You're gonna be on the moon.
Dusty here, learning the hard way as well. You're not breaking through that Valis defense.
Yeah, that is just an ugly, ugly encounter right there.
Yeah, I got 2 Drain Swords though, along with the Gungnir. Gets through, now, Dusty I don't see resetting even with the crappy Firebomb and Lit Bolt, just because you only spent a Drain Sword. You were gonna put that on your Kayn anyway when he pops up, so.
Yeah, like, I think he specifically, I think he shot those up.
Yeah.
Because they're to be junk.
Yeah. Korg's finding Bahamut down here, a freebie at a free spot. Not much of a threat. Really trying to keep that Eddie down for anchoring purposes, but dodging the Sid.
He wants to help. He wants to help.
He do he best. That's 5K main whammies already. What the heck? Although I don't call that a whammy. Mute Knife, fantastic. Yeah. Love to get that.
Yeah, no, I'm not resetting out of a Mute Knife. Especially not with that very exit in hand still.
Yeah, that is fine. Like the life staff, meh. The Gungnir, well, the Gungnir got Korgs through the Val fight. The Firebomb and Lit Bolt, meh. But that Mage Masher, that Mute Knife, very thrilling to see.
Meanwhile, Dusty going, heck this, I'm gonna go to a place that's probably gonna have something I want, unlike all of these key item spots.
Yeah, we did find the Hourglasses underground, so all these fights are going to be free. We've got decent enough weaponry to tear through them. It's just going to be a matter of time, and you hope to get enough value from it.
Wow.
The hits keep coming this seed, huh? At least we have a very fast ninja with multi-target magic attacks. What's the worst thing you would think you could see here in the second Baron slot after dealing with this gauntlet?
After dealing with this gauntlet, I am feeling Odin.
Although we do still have that Zeus Rage, and we have that Lit Bolt. Yeah.
Who else that we don't know? Seems like a bad time for Dr. Luge. I'm trying to be creative here.
Now, somehow it appears all 3 trap chests have gotten stuck in the right tower. You either love it or you hate it, depending on when you come here.
Yeah.
And not throwing an hourglass first thing, getting off to the races, swinging with this edge.
Yeah, I think that's safe on this particular one. Yeah, you can one-shot the Black Cats, and this isn't a fight where you're not as worried about getting punched to death, you're getting worried about the counters.
And the Bluster completely whiffing. Do we have a ribbon already equipped? Or something that... Oh, it was probably did the paralysis version.
Yeah.
And then a crystal ring would have protected against that. So that's why we didn't see anyone fall down.
Yeah, that seems most likely. And yeah, this the least threatening of the fights to this particular party. Like, all 3 of them can be, I think, quite nasty, but it depends on what you're bringing to them. Oh!
And Leonhardt called it in chat. We do get a Wyvern here, but Edge is so fast compared to this spot that getting the Veloff's not a problem. Main thing is, I don't think this Mega Nuke kills it. I think it leaves it with like 1,000 HP left that you still have to... Oh! More than my bad.
Yeah, not a high magic spot.
So on a clock here before the nukes start coming out, but again, Edge is so speedy here.
Yeah, and slapping that Mura on him and just, finishing the job.
We do get a Tella for our troubles, along with... Now, that is a nice key item.
Oh. That is exciting, and with both Sid and Edge in the party, I'm pretty much comfortable just going for that right now.
Yeah, we're going to get to see the Treasury, which Korgs didn't even do the public Treasury, saving a little bit of walking time here. Love to see a T-Wildish Troya Treasury, and 2 characters up there. Now, we've not been to Ordeals yet, so any Cecils will still be in Dark Knight form, but still, just getting to rotate this Edward out for someone a little stronger. There's a lot of appeal in chasing that Earth Crystal.
Yeah. Korgs, though, does want a bit more oomph, I think, before heading up there. So I think, yeah, we're going to see him going to do the Zut clear, rather than just a loot and scoot.
Well, Dusty got an Excal from the Lamia kitty chest, another crystal ring from the Mad Ogres. The loot here not really paying off just yet.
Oh, that Eddie came with a dancing dagger. It's Edge's now.
And here we go, final trap chest, Stellman Skulls.
The traditional, you flame and then you do your thing.
Yeah, I think the Skulls actually have a super strong fire weakness, it's kind of funny to see an Edge do so much damage with flame.
Oh yeah, but look at them go.
Yeah, I think that's a quadruple.
Yeah, just don't let you think he'll do that kind of damage into a flame on anything else.
Yeah. Now, the Stellman's being a little punchy here, but Dusty seeming very intent on not burning an hourglass.
Yeah, might have counted out counted out his purchases against hourglassable bosses.
Well, the danger now is it's very easy for this Stellman to put you to sleep, but one more hit from Edge gets the job done. That's all the trap chests clear. And a white shirt. No adamant armors in Eblin Cave today, but at least you know your opponent didn't get one without you.
Yeah, Dwarf axe there. Very nice, especially having kept that Gungnir spear. If there is a cane to be had with convenience, he can do some good stuff.
And Korg's here, not even taking the chance, pulling out the hourglasses, saying, you know, I'm just going to make my life easy. It may cost 6,000 a fight, but it's T-Wildish. We can spare no expense.
Yeah, I don't shop much on this flag set, I find, but I still end up with so much cash. It's really nice that way. If you want to buy it, you can buy it.
Korg's trying so hard to knock off his own Tella. I think Korgs is spending more time killing his own teammates than he is actually killing the enemies. The enemies fall over in a heartbeat. This Tella and this Eddie, they have been built of sturdy stuff tonight.
Yeah, Dusty gets his mute knife.
Yeah, not resetting out of that either. Like, nope, we keep those. I love it. I love seeing something that once upon a time in Free Enterprise, I think a lot of people would get that and very quickly just hit the reset button. But it just shows how much as a community and the understanding of the game has grown that that is extremely valuable.
Yeah, that is a tool for a job, and what a tool it is.
So it looks like we're getting a little crisscross applesauce here. Dusty doing Antlion and Baron, which Korgs was doing while Dusty was doing the trap chess. So, but I'll note that Korgs has that mute knife, and these Mad Ogres are suffering for it. Look at the damage go.
Oh, you'll love to see it. Someone in chat wisely asking when the last time Dusty saved. Right now. Because apparently he was thinking the same thing. And of course, this message has been brought to you by the committee to re-elect Senator Crocodile. Vote Crocodile. A politician who you know will bite you.
You know, unironically, I get so many campaign calls and texts now that I think this is now going to be my least favorite fight in the game. We do see, though, Dusty cleverly cleaning up his inventory a little bit here. You can use Edge, of course, to cast Flame. That does take a little bit longer, but we have this stack of Firebombs. We have these other J items. They're kind of taking up space. Cleaning out a few more slots here is going to be pretty handy, especially since we know what comes next.
Yeah, absolutely there.
Now, curiously here,
swag inventory sorting.
Korg's going for Ordeals first. I do like this play. I think with your Edge, there is nothing up here that scares you. And just having Tella's insta-death spells online for whatever's in Zot, having Stone and Weak and things of that nature, I think this is very wise. And if you see a Cecil, you're taking a Cecil on this flag set.
Yeah, like, I do not like neglecting Ordeals. It is a time costly check, but almost all seeds are gonna make that time back up. Whether it's in Cecil form or not, it's just... There's so many benefits of doing Ordeals.
And we do know also, we've had how many whammies of key items already? 5 in the K main pool, not there? Like, come on.
Yeah, like, you really cannot afford to leave a K main stone unturned at this point, because... Yeah, just, those key items must exist.
Yeah. And Dusty's Sid with the extra Evelyn XP survives the Mega Nuke with 3 HP. Really cute to see. Evil Wall here at the Mylon, 1 spot, one of the lowest physical attack spots in the game. Very nice to see it here. All the freebies, I think, well, I say that, and then Dark Imps appear.
Yeah, with these many hit points, we're fine. But, geez. Look. And again, with a lousy key item distribution like this, you really don't like seeing these Dark Imps here. Because right now, the seed is saying, we're gonna have to go somewhere hard no matter what.
And Korg's now cleaning up his supply of J items to do multi-target damage here. The Imps go down without much issue, of course. Let's see if Dusty goes for the Ordeals first or chases that Earth Crystal first. We did see him suffering from the inventory boss. Didn't have a slot for that Earth Crystal.
Oof. But he does look to be taking care of Ordeals first. Again, I like knocking this out now. That way, if there is a Cecil up in Zot, we don't have to make a second trip this way. He's good to go.
Yeah. I do hope both our runners remember to go shopping before they go to the Treasury, or we're going to see a whole lot of that item swap menu.
Yeah. Well, there is one opportunity for a mute knife not needed as much, but the Magus Sisters are still in Feymarch.
Oh, yeah. And plus, it's just fun to see 4,000 damage. It's it's very pleasing.
Yeah. Like this tiny poke and stick, 4k damage. Yes, please.
Dusty frees up another slot by flinging the final Drain Sword. Korg's got the Adamant Rock from up here. That's half the Forge, not an objective today, and we already have an X-Scowl anyway. Does open up the Kakol shop, but it's kind of a lengthy cutscene. Given that we already have good Cecil weaponry, I'll be surprised if we actually see that turned in this race.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna be cashed in on this. Even if we get both halves, yeah, I feel like you have to be pretty desperate to do an unnecessary forge on this flag set.
Yeah, I think you have to be like rocking a Cecil who still only has maybe even lightsaber. I think I might still commit to it just because X-Scowl it's X-Scowl.
Yeah, I think depends on how early you get it too. Like if you get it quick, that's a whole different story.
Yeah.
Like if we got it now, yeah, I'm checking that out.
Seeing the rare Shiva summon in Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise, pulled from a grimoire. I don't think we've seen anyone cast that with Rydia herself in a long time, so always fun to see some of those animations. And Korg's here wisely freeing up space before going to that Treasury. You don't want to have to be pushing your R button for half of it and then picking stuff back up. You don't want to be going into that swap menu over and over. Always remember, run into Troya before you loot that Treasury.
Yes, and another mage killer, those elven bows in Troya. Korgs picks one up and some lit arrows. Getting some great specialist damage tools there.
And here we go, heading down to the Treasury.
Great!
Treasury's peeled, it's like Christmas morning. What all are we getting?
What kind of stuff?
Ribbon, White Lance, both very nice. Defense Sword, there we go. Protect Ring, all right. Power Shirt. You know, not the most thrilling one I've seen, but it's adequate. It's perfectly fine. You got good gear for a variety of characters. Hopefully we'll find some of those characters soon.
Yeah, so some solid workhorse pieces. Never sad to see a Power Shirt. Still, not quite the most exciting Treasury I've seen.
Agreed. Korg's taking the left turn. Are we hunting flame dogs?
I think after this Zebland, this Treasury, I feel like, yeah, I'm going for a flame dog. I feel like the seed owes me at this point.
Where's my good trap chest loot, game? Of course, this does mean that Edward is finally gaining XP, but you're probably dropping him anyway up here.
What a great item for a character we don't have.
I mean, you don't hate it.
No, you don't. And realistically, you are going to have somebody who could use an Avenger in your party, almost all the time.
Yeah. The other great thing about that, too, is of those really nice J items we mentioned, Bacchus Wine did not show up in any of the 3 underground shops. So having a means of zerking, aside from, just casting the spell, very handy. And if it turns out that, Bacchus Wine are behind a very late game hook, you're going to be very thankful to have that Avenger if you have to go through the moon to gain access, for instance.
Yeah, like, you cannot get your Zerks out fast enough if you're using Berserkers.
Well, there was a ribbon in the Treasury. We already have plenty of crystal rings. You could actually walk in here with a character is completely immune to paralysis and insta-death, and just have your best Golbez life.
or half your party could be superfluous, and you can just kill them before the thing goes out because, wow, this spot is so slow.
True, true. And I'm fairly certain Korg's Edge is rocking a Crystal Ring to boot.
Yeah, yeah. Fantastic idea, especially for the overworld, especially for this spot, unless it's Golden's. And you're just here all day long.
So 4 firebombs, a blizzard, some lit bolts, Gaia drums, all of the J items that we've not been using because our team can just punch hard enough without them.
Yeah, that, I think, above all else, is why this flag set really encourages you to just stop looting so early. You really get a punchy team fast. You just end up not needing anything else, besides, you know, what is immediately thrown in front of you.
Oh, and I like seeing this. Korg's pulling out the fire bombs with that Sid. Golbez does have a fire weakness and a holy weakness, so getting extra value out of those, and maybe gonna get it. Probably won't get through all 4 this fight, but still freeing up a little space.
Yeah, you know what? He could get through all of them. You know, just at this rate, or the Lit 3 could really dent Sid's armor. Gotta use it anyway for a whole. It's gonna be 44 damage.
Well, yeah, after you get hit with a spell, they're not quite so strong. There's the wool Y. Now, Dusty here hid Edward and got some bad luck with the Demolish. Had 3 characters up, so the dragon did get to eat a tasty little ninja snack.
I think that's not more than a speed bump here, because the nice thing about having your Edward out and up, you can just do this.
Korgs is taking the safety save after that fight, not caring to redo that should the worst fate befall you at the Val spot.
Yeah, we do have Lightward out of the pool, thankfully. But again, like, that's... I've said this so many times. Please, save after doing Magma Sisters. Yes, it takes time. I've seen so many races outright lost to not doing that.
We do find Kane up here. We mentioned how good the gear we have for him is, and he is paired up with... Hey, there's a pretty good white mage. Who do you like to swap out here? I think I ditch Sid and Edward and still keep that Tella around myself.
For me, I'm probably ditching the Tella and the Sid, but Frank, but your suggestion there is you know, also I think gonna be the more common choice. I do tend to like even a pre-spoon Eddie as a very glassy DPS once he gets up and running, but that's niche strats, and frankly, they don't win tournaments, so...
But now we are seeing something here going on this Kane that I dare say is bad news for Dustygriff. Dustygriff did not pet the dog. Did not get the Avenger. You will have 2 people on your team who can cast Zerk if you do keep the Tella. But again, just now you have auto Zerking Kane. You have 2 people who can do Blink and Zerk and cover, you know, your Edge's weaknesses. This team is off and running in a very meaningful way, and that Avenger, I think, is going to give Korgs a time advantage going forward.
A little bit mitigated here, though, in this specific encounter, with the Paladin's incessant, annoying, pointless counters.
You know, we haven't seen any anti-dragon weaponry either. No Dragoon Lances, no Artemis Arrows.
Not even a Dragon Whip. Not that we've seen anybody who could use that.
Yeah. Now, that being said, Dusty's Kane is also going to be very, very well equipped here. Love an Aegis Shield, love a White Lance. Just very mighty, just not auto-zerking. And, you know, sometimes you start to consider when you have, you know, the Edge and no Bacchus Wines, do you intend to maybe do a little sealing when you go to Cave Magnus? Do you intend to, well, you can't take the Mad Ogre chest in Eblin anymore, that's gone. You know, so do you think about stealing wine?
It is absolutely on my mind. I know I outright lost a race to having no wine, so I'm very conscious of when no wine.
And here these racers still neck and neck. Dusty entering the fight right when Korgs is warping out of the tower, just minutes apart here. I will note that Dusty did not keep the Tella, went with the Sid instead.
Yeah. I did not catch that key item.
That's a Masamune. This Edge is living his best life.
I feel comfortable calling that a key item here.
But seriously though, that's six empty K-main locations now. This is wild.
That is... That's uncomfortable, I think. Korg is gonna go... Don't have the key items, but we're gonna take some eggs.
You know, this is kind of a funny situation, because I feel like Korg's team, like, Korg's gear, I think, is better suited to having kept the Sid, because he does have another means of Zerk that Dusty doesn't have.
Yeah.
Whereas on Dusty's side, I think this Rosa is going to be trying to pull, like, triple duty. Zerking people, blinking people, healing people. It's a lot to put on just one white mage.
Yeah, Yeah, it is a very interesting consideration that way. Yeah, I'm wondering if Dusty is forward thinking on wine right now as well. But
Dusty picks up his fine Hanzo steel. Korgs did a couple eggs to get that Kane, and Rosa really rolling. Yeah, level 23 Rosa, level 23 Kane, both looking good. I have a feeling both these runners are going to be headed to Dwarf Castle for their next key item check. I don't think you're feeling Keyless Tower or a Fey March fight. And what are your other options? Nothing.
Yeah, like, the Keyless Tower is seeming more and more likely, but Dwarf is right here. We can do this right now. Especially since, you know, our party has just taken a huge leap in terms of power, but we've still got a bit more room for refinement. Might as well take care of it right now.
And we have a Kenatsu in spot 1. What's the combined HP here? 8 to 9,000?
So, a lot, yeah.
So another good reason for both these runners to have taken a few eggs here. Even if it gets the wave off, I think everyone's going to be okay except maybe Korg's Tella.
Yeah, this is only scary if you're underleveled, and we just both on both sides of the screen took some eggs.
And Korg's very intent to keep his anchoring option in place, keeping that Tella knocked down. We've not come across a cursed ring. We're probably not going to shop for one. You can, of course, rotate Tella out for another low agility character once you find one. But being very intent on keeping that Tella napping just for agility manipulation deeper in the seed.
Yeah, and I think in this particular situation, that's really what you want to be doing there. We don't have a lot of character options that we've seen yet. Just for late game fills, they're not there yet.
Speaking of characters, we knew this was a Dark Knight Cecil at the Golbez spot, but who is the character reward? Oh, it's fair.
Goodbye, Tella.
I would almost consider ditching Rosa over Tella there just to make sure you still have an anchoring option. That's kind of gone out the window for Korgs now. Worked so hard to keep that Tella on the ground, and now your lowest agility is going to be 20?
20 with a nuke.
I do love just killing the Dark Knight rather than waiting for the speech here. It's like, nah, this Power Short Avenger Kane has something to say.
Yeah, it's... Like, this spot is not going to hurt you as Dark Knight Cecil, but also, it's got so few hit points.
It's also really cute because it's vaguely reminiscent of the mirror match at Fabul in the vanilla game, where the Dragoon comes in and beats up the Dark Knight.
Oh, I mean...
It's like poetry, Neon. It rhymes.
Thanks, George. Thanks.
Is this even random? Wait.
Yes, because that would have been nothing yet. Because you don't get a key item there. You get sent to the. But it gives you at a time when you wouldn't get the key item. So it's a weird fancy vanilla. It's not French vanilla because it's something like artisan vanilla.
Delicious. When you can see the pieces of the actual vanilla bean. So nice.
Oh, I want some fancy ice cream.
Korgs here, making the play into Sealed Cave. This spot can be awkward with the agility and the spell power, but Wyvern's out of the pool. Not a whole lot to worry about in that regard. I am curious. I'm assuming that Fu knows Warp. Save you a little time walking out of here. Well, he will by the time you do the boss fight anyway. I believe we saw that Fu at 1700 currently.
Yeah, I think we're fine that way.
But if this is another whammy, do you grind eggs and go to Fate March, or do you go ahead and commit to Keyless Tower?
I honestly probably would have gone to Keyless Tower over the Sealed, honestly, so that's probably where I'm looking at next. But I hate this walk-in.
It's so slow.
I mean, not that the walk up the tower is better, but it's a more interesting tile set.
And a cooler song.
Yes. I love you, Into the Darkness, but no, you're not the Tower of Babel.
And again here, neck and neck. Korgs at the bottom save point doing some party and spell management. Dusty right behind. Back up top side. Gonna see the item and see if it's being walked out. I think you're walking that out.
Yeah, you gotta take that. You have got to take that. Not even like, yes, if there's an objective there, but even if it weren't, that's our fifth key item, and we're 44 minutes in.
Yeah, you are really at this point. I think that if you find a Darkness Crystal, this is one of those rare seeds where you are loath to try to get 10 key items before going moon. Sometimes it's nice because you know you're getting double XP at all those high-value altars. On this seed, I think you find that Darkness Crystal, you just get out of here. The Earth has been so sparse.
Yeah, Earth Haunted, and that boss is free.
So of our major freebies, we've now seen King Queen Evelyn and the Dark Imps. Both guards still on the table, and a few others that, relatively free depending on your setup.
Yeah.
But yeah, lots of nasties still out there too. The notably, we did see Dark Knight Cecil, right? I'm trying to think of enemies that punish you when you go into the fight with an Avenger equipped. CPU, Dark Knight Cecil. Asura is one that can cause you some grief, but she's out of the pool as well now.
D-Lunars are still out there.
D-Lunars, yeah, that's a good one. D-Mist, if you can't chew through her HP fast enough.
Rubicant.
Yeah, yeah. If he were at this spot, that would have been a whole lot of fire damage coming out.
Yeah, but he could still be at, say, Ogopogo, with something important. He could be at Ogopogo with the hook.
I'll note, Korgs here, walk through that door from the basement to the next level at 4530. Dusty here, also going for the assault instead of letting the King Queen burn themselves out.
Yeah, interesting.
Probably just killing the king.
Yeah. Because this is such a fast spot, it does become an interesting question of, is it going to be faster for them to take their turns or for you to get in their queue? But I think here, yeah, just taking the king out, waiting for the next turn of the queen.
Yeah, there we go. Took a little bit of that Fire 1 opportunity to make sure the Baron Key was where he wanted it. And here we go. Dusty walks through this door. This is 1 minute, 5 seconds difference between these two runners. They have completed the same major checks. Of course, their inventories and their party comps are different, but 1 minute, 5 seconds apart, heading out of here to go chase this Baron Key. Can't ask for much in such an important race here in the Dragoon Helm group.
Yeah, and I think, it's just a fantastic display of how, there are so many different ways to play this game and still just be really good. Because, both of these runners, again, they're neck and neck. They're both doing pretty different things.
Now, trying to remember, our starting item was handed to us by Dark Elf.
Yes.
So, another pretty quick fight. That Avenger should do some pretty good work here. But of course, the White Lance on Dusty's side will also do pretty decent damage here. And we've lost 1/4 of the city. Destroyed.
Well, they need to do, they need to do road work there anyway. We're just helping.
It's like an ActRaiser when you use Earthquake to destroy all your thatched roof huts so you can build the actual good buildings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a public service.
Dark Elf changes without getting a single spell off. Having a pretty rough time.
Not a good day to be a Dark Dragon.
And of course, the basement throne is required, but this isn't going to be a situation where you do that one first, I think. There's very little reason not to check the actual throne as well. We've completed only one objective out of 7 at this point. So taking the safer route to exit and save after the fact, I definitely agree with this by Korgs.
Yeah, and what? Give me a key item, please. Please.
And Demas, by the way, showing up at a spot where the waiting into combat with the Avenger equipped, not a problem here.
Yeah, down it goes. Avenger doesn't even come out. Fu just does a nuke.
Inching down those unlikely to be used items in the inventory to the bottom, just to get ready to throw them away or sell them. That's not Cecil.
That's not Cecil at all.
Palom getting kicked to the curb. Fu has our black magic covered for the seed.
Yeah.
And after the long walk downstairs.
Meanwhile, Dusty meets his Miss Dragon. And taking out like half our hit points right there, and then do a little bit of overkill here.
Yeah, White Lance not as good, and that is a Protect Ring. That is another K main whammy. Are we up to 6 or 7 now that we know we're shifted to the summon in the moon pools?
Board face, key item machine broke.
7, goodness. Well, the basement's required. Let's see how nasty it gets here. Corey's gonna give us the look.
Yeah, this could be doable right now. Could make you want to come back. At this point in the game, I think either one is perfectly acceptable.
And again, just under 2 minutes apart between these runners. This is so ridiculous. You'd love to see it. And you love to see that as well. We've already fought the gauntlet. That's just 3 hits and you're done. Easy peasy objective number 1 for our runners tonight.
Yeah, gonna swing straight through this. I don't think we're even in real danger here.
Oh, Rosa whiffs with the arrow. Kane having to clean up. That was from the middle spot, too. How bad is the bow she's equipped with?
I don't think we've actually seen any good ones, so
That's
probably
just
just your start. Yeah, there it is.
there's a good item. All right, so we have a paltry 6 key items. I would not be worried about trying to get to 10 at all here. I think I take my sirens, my hourglasses, I get my butt to the moon, and I start clearing those checks ASAP. You hope to find a Cecil up there to rock that Excal, but other than that, you've spent enough time on this blue planet. We gotta go.
Yeah, Earth's haunted.
It is very nice, though, that the required objective was also the Darkness Crystal. I'm sure that is a sigh of relief for our runners. You really weren't wanting to do Keyless Tower hunting it. You really weren't wanting to do those Fey March fights. Although I think Magus Sisters is manageable now. You just don't want to have to go back there multiple times over. And I wouldn't do Mom Bomb. No,
I'm coming back there if I'm coming back there after the moon is completely clear. Because it's, you could take that, but you don't want to take that. So you don't have to take that right now, so you don't.
For what it's worth, though, also as a runner here, you probably have to think about, have I made any big mistakes? Would my opponent have had any opportunities to make big gambles? And I think this is extremely linear. Very unlikely that your opponent is going to do Keyless Tower before Dwarf, and the Luca Key just kind of chains you down the path. Nothing at Fey March was really appealing. Maybe you think with that Mute Knife, someone might have gotten frisky and gone back. But at this point, I feel that this has just been very much a straight line for both runners, which is weird with a starting Magma Key.
Yeah, but it's, it's really interesting just the way, just some distributions of key items will just send you, bottlenecking into, specific routes, or just exhausting all of your other options.
Ooh, and Korgs here making the call. Remember what I said about not Tella for Fu, but Rosa for Fu?
Yeah,
Makes that
the
change.
prophecy you spoke.
And but that gives Dustygriff back a decent amount of time. I don't think Dusty feels compelled to rotate anyone out here right now. Oh,
yeah.
But maybe shopping? Okay, not going to the tower yet. If we see double character swaps here, I will be shocked.
Yeah, I don't think it would make sense with Dusty's party.
Nah, he just wanted to see if Tents or Captains were there. All right. I do like chat pointing out here that without camping gear, yeah, Gil Swift, Ether Ones, Ether Ones are camping gear, right?
Sure. I mean, for Dusty, if your primary caster here is a Fu, yeah, Ether Ones are camping gear.
Yeah. And the Helmingway shop having nothing really interesting here. Kind of sad little bunnies. Sylph Summon, Echo Notes, Mallet. No, we're good. And I think this is now, what, like a 20-second difference? 55-14 entering the palace for Korgs. Oh, Dusty's taking a nap, though. Okay. It buys a little time back.
Yeah, but without camping gear.
Yang on the dais, still no pallies in sight. I mean, your team's not hurting by any measure, but you have that lovely Excal. You always want to see Cecil, but our restreamer promised that he was in the Giant this seed, and it's looking like that. It's getting likelier by the minute.
I know where he is. He is going to be on. He is going to be at the last key item we obtained, the Sand Ruby. I'm calling that.
Well, let's try to be a little more hypothetical here then. Let's say that you do get, you finish off getting your necessary key items, right?
Yeah.
And we talked about how nice it is to be able to go directly from completing the Giant down the hook route. do you consider here doing hook route first in case Cecil's there, so we can get all that lucrative XP on the giant and get caught up for Zeromus?
If I'm Korgs, yes. If I'm Dusty, not really. I think, I think Korgs is just a little bit weaker offensively. If he's using the tele for the anchor is perfectly good. But especially for a late swap, I think the Fu is going to be less useful if we can, like, relative to a Cecil, if we can bolt a bunch of levels onto him. But that's assuming you're willing to go, oh, I probably won't need any healing.
Oh, and I will note here that it seems that one of the big reasons Korg selected not to heal was to keep that Tela on the ground. He has a very specific design for this stage, and it will not be interrupted. And we are exactly even entering these fights. Each runner chose a different one. Dusty finds an eyeball, Korgs finds leg. A few more and we can build our own build our own Frankenstein. This is great.
And opting to take that Avenger off wisely, kept a Blizzard Spear, presumably for just this purpose.
Excellent weapon to have here. And we do see Dusty here. They having the White Lance, also nice here. Gonna do double damage versus Plague. But Dusty seems now intent on Rosa pulling long-term anchor duty. No, he's just resetting the clock because he doesn't have anchoring. Pardon me, Chad. Yeah, Dusty doesn't have the anchor setup that Korgs does, and thus has to be concerned with this Doom counter running out.
Yeah, so we are seeing, the rare doing it the way the developers probably intended this fight to be done. Amazing. It happens sometimes.
Yeah. I wonder if the agility here permits you to do the reflect count kill as well. In a lot of spots, you have to end up casting slow on Plague, especially if it's bounced some fasts off of your walls back onto itself. So I wonder if that is even tenable here with the 20 agility anchor, or if it's just this is hands down the only way to pull this off with a team.
With 20, I don't think that's going to happen. This is what, D-looter spot? I mean, that's... Yeah, that's a straight 30 agility here. You're actually more likely, I think, to get your reflect kill going off of an edge there. But we are through on both sides.
Yep, Korg's pulling the tower key, rewarded for not doing Keyless Tower yet. Dusty getting a Twin Harp and an Adamant Armor. We have found the Adamant Armor, and we love it. We love it so much.
Yeah, goes straight on that edge. Kane gets the slightly sweaty power shirt.
Hand-me-downs are okay when they're that nice. Like,
yeah, I mean, I will take a hand-me-down power shirt. This does become fascinating because finally getting key items on the moon does mean that if we don't get overt progression up here, we're going to have the chance for actual divergence.
And I'll note here, it appears that everyone on Dusty's team has elemental resistance. That Fire 2 did double digits to the entire crew here. Does Rosa even survive the glare? No, not quite that good. But, whew, 8,000 damage on a Blizzard Spear jump.
Very, very nice.
Yeah, so does have the advantage here of the Adamant Armor. Actually, Hills Ruby, though, Ice 3 coming out too slow. Korgs has the Plague advantage, though, over Dusty of not having to do a reset. Just having the double Zerker, ATB cannot run out on those Doom counters. But Dusty has the adamant advantage for the leg fight, just swapping back and forth here, each with an advantage the other didn't have. Really fun.
Yeah, it is really amazing. Just, the way, they're just weaving back and forth against each other and just making it up. And that is just amazing.
Korgs through that plague fight very smoothly, about to equalize on Adamants. And Dusty here making a very, very subtle mistake. Zerked up that Kane after lifing him without him re-entering the queue.
Ooh.
And accordingly is now frozen. Will not be taking any more actions this combat. But who needs a Cecil anyway? Yeet that X-Cal, get out of the fight, get on with your life.
Yeah, and, this is a prime spot for Ruby to get an X-Cal yeeted at him. It's enough hit points to be annoying. Get that tower key.
And Korgs has regained a slight advantage here. Dusty healing up at the save point. Korgs going to show us our first look at the Ogo altar. It is... it's fine.
Yeah, don't love it, don't hate it. This is, I think, a very ordinary boss for this spot.
Mylon will eventually get a little punchy. Lightning, in spite of the huge spell power here, the lightning ones aren't going to do much of anything that this team can't handle. The main annoyance is just going to be the sheer quantity of them while you're waiting for the fight to end.
Yeah, and you'll be like, oh, no, he got his turn to do the punch. Now I have to heal somebody.
Now help me out, Neon. Which one of his characters did Korgs put his adamant armor on? Did he go Edge or Kane with his?
I did not catch it myself.
It must be on Kane, or that lightning one would have only done 1 damage.
Yeah,
so,
you're right,
okay.
yeah. Because he wasn't putting a protect ring on Kane.
Yeah. I was just wondering about that, because we do have Edge in the front row. We never found a Boomerang or a Full Moon to back row him, and there's that punchy Mylon. That's why I was wondering, because, do you adamant armor to improve your damage dealing, or do you adamant armor to keep your front row safe? Kind of a little catch-22 there.
Yeah, and it is always tricky, and especially too because Edge also has just a lot fewer defensive options just in general. So I do like Dusty's call of putting it on the Edge.
And there is a Legend Store. It's still not quite what we're looking for. Again, I don't see either runner going for a Forge play here. We are getting closer to 10 key items.
Yeah,
but,
and I think... Yeah, you cannot say no to a key item at this point, because we're not getting a ton of XP out of this. Like, we're only at level 39, and we've cleared half the moon at this point. That's quite low.
Yeah, I don't think you worry about the XP too much, since we do have that Complete the Giant of Babel. Like, we didn't see neither runner did any moon grinding before taking any fights. No one fought warlocks or gold dragons or anything. They're like, no, they're still going to end up at like level 55 for Zeromus minimum, just because of the objective layout here, I think.
Yeah, absolutely, but it does mean that en route to the end, I don't think you're turning down you're even a superfluous key item like that, or the XP from a spot, like even an un-10 key item moon spot.
And I tell you, I am loving Korgs doing all the healing with consumables here. Instead of taking the time to camp, tents don't do all that great a job for you anyway. The cabin would wake your Tella up. I think this is a real subtle and clever thing that Korgs is doing that saves time. I really like seeing that play.
Yeah, that is a nice efficiency move right there. You really like seeing that.
Lugay and Balnab, I don't believe we have seen a Thunderclaw yet this game. We have lightning arrows.
Yeah, I don't... Yeah, I think the lit arrows, which Korgs did buy, but no longer really has anybody able to make serious use out of them.
All right, here we go. Adamant armor, foo, lightning arrows, elven bow. No, we're not seeing that here. That would be a whole new degree of desperation.
Yeah, that would be... He's got nuke. We're not that desperate.
Oh, and a restreamer pointing out that the yang that each runner gave up on the moon might have had a Thunderclaw, but neither runner stripped him of the gear. Interesting. Would be very handy right here.
Yeah. But also not super pressing. The spot doesn't have a ton of hit points, so breaking it up across 3 entities also helps.
Yeah.
But we still have not seen Odin, and he could be lurking at the White Gate. Not White. The Murasabe altar.
And Luge falls to Korgs. Again, just the tiniest little breath ahead of Dusty still for probably like the last 25-30 minutes, like just how neck and neck these runners are. Korg's not giving up that tiny little lead he holds. Very exciting match, just back and forth. Well, not even back and forth, just, I'm gonna get you, catching up.
Yeah, it is just amazing watching this here. Just the life staff from that fight, still keeping it, yeah, because, again, we are going to be high level by the end, but I don't think we're saying no to anything at this point.
Oh yeah, and the time you save by resting, there's not a lot anyway, and we do take the full rest. That means Tella is standing again, but not for long, and heading back into that Pale Dim Murasame altar.
Poor guy, Tella. He just takes such abuse, especially on this flat set. This cat left to the wayside at best, or just beaten up like this. Like, poor Tella, but he has had his day in the sun. In so many of these other flight sets.
Dusty getting the life staff. Korg's here nearly down to the Mura altar. We did see that Avenger come off of Kane. He has a very important job. It's putting the old man to sleep.
Yes, yeah, hey Tella, look over here.
And ooh. Taking a quick flip from the defense sword to the white lance, but I don't think it actually updated there because Mylon was talking. We'll see what kind of damage Kane is doing here, but it may still just be doing
Yeah, I don't think that's the boost.
Yeah, I think that's defense plus adamant plus Avenger swap. But,
yeah.
You know, it's nothing to complain about. Nothing
yeah, like, still 3k a swing, can't complain there. But, yeah, for a thing like that, that is where, you know, just for surety's sake, you know, just manually take a swing just to be sure it's set. It's,
Yeah, Mylon being very helpful, though. Korgs did not have to Dan his own Tella. Tella taking that nap courtesy of Mylon Z. Very quick fight. Doesn't even get a second punch on Edge to finish him off.
A very simple fight there.
That's our 10th key item.
And we can throw that at our Mom Bomb.
Throw that at Mom Bomb. Throw it at... Oh, we've not seen CPU yet. CPU at Elements?
Oh.
We're gonna need more spoons.
Why isn't dupe on? Watch, we... Oh.
You mean duplication glitch with the...
With the Eddie we haven't seen?
Yeah. Wait, no, Eddie was our starter.
Oh, yes, he was, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Already. I have forgotten. Poor Edward.
It's like a knife when all you need is 255 spoons. Hey, that's more Canadian content.
Hey, I would like to introduce everybody to my commentary partner, George Alanis Lucas Morissette.
That's actually a really cool name. Could you imagine if that was your name? You're probably like a cousin of like the Habsburgers or something if you have that long of a name.
I'd rather have a chin.
Octomammoth at Cave Bahamut, not so scary, especially not with an adamant armor and an Avenger cane. Blink going up to keep the team alive. These tentacles will get chopped off, 3 for the first, 2 for each subsequent one, and then it's just going to stand there and become sushi.
Yeah, not a problem here. This is an extremely punchy spot, of course, but just due to the nature of Octomam, gonna slow down very rapidly as these turns come out, so the threat at the start of the fight goes away pretty quickly.
Oh, yeah. So the chains that we have received from the moon thus far, there is, of course, the Twin Harp, which is slow and full of cutscenes, and some people think you should fade it. And then there is the Tower with 2 K-Main checks, but I don't think K-Main has anything else in it. No, I mean, Harp's also K-Main. I'm just...
Yeah.
I had to poke fun at how the key item distribution has been this run. But I think, again, we're going to see both runners probably go straight for lower Babel as soon as they leave here, barring a Pan or a Rat Tail here.
Well, there's our hook, so we can at least, on our way down, knock off a pair of objectives. But we are unusually after a full moon clear. An hour and 13 minutes into the seed, we are still looking for key items.
Yeah, we still need both tails for Go Mode, I believe. Oh, and the Sand Ruby.
Yeah.
Oh, my lord. Yeah, 5 key items on the moon. 2 of them gate the hook half gates. You know, it does gate our Launch the Falcon objective, but do either tell. Well, you gotta have the tails. Now, here's the thing I'm wondering for Dusty with this hook. Dusty's not seen wine yet. And I wonder if that has any chance of baiting him to go see what's in the cave. We still, of course, have an Excal and a Cecil sitting around somewhere out there. And Korgs here actually, you know, I mean, with a name like microKorgs, I don't know why I would expect any less. Korgs is going to Cave Magnus, the runner of the people, gonna get us music.
He is the true hero that we all know and love. What is Dusty going to do? He is going to the Giant.
Really? Well, you know, when I think about this, I don't hate it at all. You have 10 key items, right?
Yeah.
So you're getting double XP here. Whatever, with all the levels you get from here, every fight after is going to be so much faster. And there's even a chance here that, like, if Rydia is here, I could see Dusty, like, swapping the Fu or the Rosa for the Rydia just to get anchoring going again.
Yeah, that is a big possibility there. We'll see how he goes with that. We do have a question in chat asking if Dusty's Fu was a cursed ring on him. I do not believe so.
Nah, definitely not. Otherwise, he wouldn't have had to have reset that plague fight back at the D-Lunar altar. If you have a cursed Fu for agility, you can definitely just set your Zerkers going and not worry about that counter.
Yeah, like, you don't even need to set your Zerkers going back. If you give yourself that much time for it, you can just hold A and it'll work.
Well, speaking of holding A, let's please hold A. And enjoy this lovely hold music, courtesy of microKorgs and DJ Spoony B. Well, that didn't take long. Did you recognize that song, Neon?
I did not. I caught, briefly, I didn't get the title, but I did see it was from Xenoblade 2, by the wonderful Xenocat. Just a package there, and meanwhile, we have some frogs on the giant with Dustygriff.
Yeah, that's, you hate to see that. Big time loss for Korgs. Love the production values, but just a package. Like, if that had been a Sand Ruby, our other, one-off character check in the desert, would have been so nice. As it stands, though, flying underground, gonna chase this tower key instead.
It's not much of a chase at this point, because I think, well, it's either here or it's at Feymarch.
Yeah. yeah, we'll go with this one. This one seems nice. You'll also, theoretically, not theoretically, you do get a peek at who eventually awaits you on your Launch the Falcon objective.
Yeah.
And so, of course, Lunar Frog Strat, for some reason, multi-target status effects ignore the boss bit when reflected. So you're able to throw the bad breath right back at the D-Lunars. If you're lucky, you hit both of them, turn them both into frogs here. If you're unlucky, just hit the one that is a frog after the transformation. And yeah, you have a pretty easy time compared to dealing with their standard script.
Yeah, turns a fight at a huge hit point spot, and because it is a split boss, we do get the full hit points.
And we have found our orbs up here at the Dr. Luge spot. That spoon would be flinging so fast here in my book, but I wanted to get a look at who is going through that telepod, so as soon as this menuing's done... Oh, okay. Ruby spot's free.
Yeah. That will not be a problem. And speaking of free, our second rocks flying on the right side of the screen takes out that frog.
205,000 XP. So nice. And Korg's very quickly queuing up a blink before this Adamant Zerker Kane can destroy the attacker, hopefully. Maybe one more swing? Oh, Kane cooperating? No betrayal? What?
Sometimes he's a good boy. If you treat him right, he will be good to you. Oh!
Do you want to do a life glitch?
Life 2 grind, life 2 grind, life 2 grind.
I mean, we don't even need more XP for this Roma fight.
We do not need a life 2 grind, but you always hope to see a life 2 grind.
Yeah, we are seeing Fatal come out here. Oh, although, actually, okay. Kane, no, swinging up an attack. Are you going to get the life glitch? Okay, holding Rose's turn. Okay.
Okay, just a regular.
I just love these numbers. Well, Fatal's kind of slow. I guess we're only getting a life glitch on a plane. Oh, well.
Stand, Ruby.
Hey, that is objective number 3 obtained for Korgs. We did not get the life glitch off on the officer because of how slow the spell is. Still a bonus 55,000 XP. Not shabby for,
Yeah, you hate to miss it just because it's so much, but you don't need it. This is the highest XP spot in the game. 150,000 before 10 key items. There's Aridia.
With the Adamant armor and these levels, Dusty probably doesn't care about anchoring that much, so... there is an argument to be made for swapping here, but with this much party strength and nothing really in your way except the Feymarch, I'd be surprised.
Yeah.
You can find that Odin, by the way, over at the Tower Key. You know what's going to be really, really funny, Neon?
What?
When not only... Okay. If this Tower Key gives no progression, that means the moon was haunted. And it's all through Feymarch.
Oh my god. Only if you count Bahamut Cave as not being the moon.
That's true. That's true. Pardon me. Cave Bahamut.
But it is a case summon check.
Yeah.
It is a case summon check.
This could have been everything behind case summon. Oh. I mean, it's very unlikely. Like, this is going to be the pan or one of the tails. Like,
yeah.
Even the pass would be great here. You don't want to go through the moon a second time, but it would be pretty funny.
Yeah, it would be so good.
And it's technically still possible. I'm waiting with bated breath.
Yeah, fingers crossed. We are gonna see that Enterprise flying in.
Okay.
Aww.
Well, wait. It could
this could be nothing.
It could still be both Rat and Pinktail in Feymarch. There's still a chance.
There's still a chance.
Notably, Dusty did not check the item shop for Bacchus Wine. I mean, you got Rosa and Thu. You got two people who can cast Cirque. And Cecil's apparently either behind that package or that Sand Ruby. Very hidden this seed.
Yeah, neither one really thrilling. Although, if he is at the Sand Ruby, you know, that by itself is a compelling case for the early keyless tower check.
Just an apple from the Sylphs? Sheila, come on. Sheila.
One more whiff. Come on.
One more chance for Moon's Haunted.
There too, Rat-tailed Sylphs would have been a case summon.
Yeah, but the pan you could only get by doing the tower key at the White Spear altar. So
yes, yeah.
Dusty here. We know it's dolls at slot 2. King Queen Evelyn spot versus this team. Very few things would be nasty here. One of everyone's rudest, least favorite, of course, Dark Knight Cecil. Even here, so much HP wouldn't be a problem, and we've already seen him, of course.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything left that could be really. Oh.
Dang it. Moon required. Just the one, though. Only the tower key at the White Lance altar.
There's ghosts on the moon. They're not haunting it.
Yeah.
But so there's ghosts there.
If someone really, really, really wanted to, like, galaxy brain this, be like, I'm just going to leave the moon with the first path item I find. Boom. That would have done you.
It's true. Oh, but we got... No, that was somewhere else. Never mind.
And Fu's Quake, leaving each of these guards with under 100 HP, rolling 29 XX on both of them. 3,000 a pop here. Ugh.
Thanks,
Fu. Come on.
Does the rat tail still have the pink tail, or do we have to go to Feymarch? Cash that Sand Ruby in. Is this our Cecil?
And if so, do you bother taking him at this point? No, Cecil's behind the package.
Yag.
Cecil is behind the package behind Twin Harp.
Yes, I believe it has been Fiery Blizzard calling all seed for Cecil to be behind the completely unnecessary package. Step up and get your prize. The prize is no Cecil.
Hooray! And you know, the funny thing is that this was, at least for Korgs, if Korgs wins this match, he'll be 5-0, won't have any more of the group flags to play. No Cecil in your potential last hurrah. Because, of course, no Cecil, no Fu upcoming in the brackets flags. You want to have one more opportunity for crunch good times, and it just did not play out this seed.
Yeah, you hate to see it, because Cecil's so good. And I want to say, like, you know, as a long-term runner, like, too, rat in the pink.
No Feymarch required. Womp womp.
But they do have the pass.
That's true.
I don't care about the pass. Not for those fights.
But here's the thing I'm wondering. Does the second adamant armor plus the better anchoring allow Korgs to make up the time lost from that twin harp check?
That's going to be very interesting because, as we've seen, you know, these are some very fast fights on the giant.
Dusty here, not being tempted by the harp or by returning to Feymarch, climbing this tower. Good news for him. Everything he needs is through here, and that means Korgs will have ultimately made just that one more check, just the Cave Magnus one. But Korgs got this second adamant armor
there's wine.
extremely early.
There is that wine.
Yeah, so with these tools, and again, the good anchoring, Korgs stands a chance to make up some of that time, but oh lordy, is Cave Magnus slow.
Yeah, I think doing Hook here, doing this right now is a bit of a, you know, I think if anything, it's a bit of a very last minute. I can still level up a Cecil through the giant, but that's just Porum.
Yeah. Now, Dusty here's doing the cannon room first, which not an objective. So if he turns left here to do a Penguinator special, that will probably just put the ball all the way back in Korg's court.
Yeah, could alternatively be an undoing both, and he's keeping going.
Okay.
Might be the save in case of a whiff, because he wants the, nope, just gonna clear them both out.
I always get nervous when I see someone go into the tower room first, just because, I mean, in this case, it's very unlikely that this spot could have had the pan. Well, actually, could it even have led to full go mode? Pan leading to Sylph and Sheila with Rat Tail another item, then Rat Tail another. Yeah, you could conceivably have full go mode from this spot, but that tower room's so fast, you're going to do it no matter what, even if you did get a pan here, which you don't. Just hypothesize.
But you do get a Sand Ruby here, so very, very happy about taking this. And it is just fascinating considering, just as Korgs does proceed down past the yet another non-Cecil check, you know, just as a long-term player, just thinking back to how there was a time in free enterprise history where you could not pay people to take Cecil. And here we are now.
You know, even with the advent of what was then called agility agnostic and is now just the default setting, because, you know, a lot of people were so confused with, you know, why does my agility setup change so significantly if Cecil's in the party or not? But I think that even Zemazone 2, several players kind of showcase that the agility doesn't matter. What matters is the fact that he gets the biggest hitting sticks in the game, to a degree where, you know, until they added the Game Boy Advance Supersmith weapons, Cecil's ultimate weapon versus anyone else's is like double damage at Zeromus. You're talking 7,000 damage versus 3,500 for even a double Masamune edge. So it's he is the guy, and that is why he's going to be taking a lovely little vacation with his uncle as soon as we hit the bracket stage.
Well, I hope they have a nice time, whatever they do while they're setting it out. Maybe they'll take a trip together.
I'm just picturing them both, like, fly fishing. I don't know, there's something charming about them with, like, their little vests and their waders. I don't know, it's just a mental image I get.
Oh yeah, no, little hats, you know,
There we go. Dusty gets that pan, gonna chase it forthwith. We know it leads to everything else. And Korgs here seeming to have a little bit of issues wrapping up this Calbrana fight.
Oof, yeah. But, this is a really high hit point spot. It's easy to just, underestimate it on a split like that, but we are now through.
Don't want to see the big doll. So taking a little bit of patience there. Make sure you don't just leave all blues on the table. And you know, and we did see Dusty's Foo fail to kill the guards in one hit. So that's the thing about Foo. He has such immense utility, but his stats just don't get up to the degree that Rydia or Palom's do in terms of sheer damage.
Yes.
But here we go. I think it was... you live by the harp, you die by the harp. Dusty had no hiccups going through any of these routes, didn't get distracted. Korg still has the giant to go. I think the one thing that might pull this off would be... I mean, God, there's going to be 2 adamant armors as well if Dusty... Well, yeah, Dusty has to turn in for the second one. I think even a full-powered Big Bang into rocks does not stop the team at this point.
Yeah, I think with the levels accumulated from play, with the adamant armors, yeah, it is, yeah, you can take that on the chin.
But I'll note, you know, I was getting ready to do the big ol' who's butt speech and everything, but we have no pass.
we have no pass. We're still finishing off hand to get our objectives.
Yeah.
We don't need to pretend like we've never seen a Zeromus flag before. Yeah.
Exactly. So the good thing for Korgs is once he's done with the giant, he can immediately go back to the moon. Doesn't have to fiddle around with any more hovercraft shenanigans or anything.
Yeah, just land and head right back.
Basically going to be down by exactly the length of that twin harp, which again,
it hurts. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you know what, if you're gonna take your one loss of a phase of a tournament, you know, you might as well lose it doing something cool, like giving the people music.
Oh yeah. I don't think there will be any regrets there.
And that too is, I think, something just strategically that we just have not really gotten into. You know, like yes, going 5-0 is great. That's absolute security, but you can use this security right now against like a really tough opponent like Dusty, and ultimately just, you know, be relatively unscathed tournament-wise. Just you can do a thing like, say, take a gamble on a twin harp and know it won't hurt your overall chances very much.
Absolutely. There we go. We're finally going to see well, we did just see the crystal. It pops up before the adamant armor there. Very strong team, but we got to walk the moon again. But we're going to have 2 mighty Zerkers, although Dusty didn't buy that wine. So any black holes, any resets in this fight going to be a little more time consuming for him. Meanwhile, Korg's over here dealing with the D-Lunars, has the walls set up. Oh, now we see the anchor swap.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
I'm wondering if that Sid, with all the levels he got, is even still really, really good anchor. I mean, you at least have crystal rings kicking around to speed up the rest of the team.
Yeah, I think he's going to be slow enough, especially relative to the rest of the party. I think you're still good.
Yeah. I mean, we know Edge and Kane are 2 of the speediest boys in the game, but Rosa, if she isn't wearing one of those crystal rings, will be a little lagging behind.
Yeah, because one thing we have not seen, that we usually see a lot of in these flags, is Rosa's agility tools. We haven't really seen Arnie bows, we haven't seen heroin robes, and certainly with all of these life staves we've seen kicking around, she could wear a heroin robe and still be a perfectly capable hero.
Oh yeah. And Korg's got a little less lucky than Dusty did here in the Froggy fight. Only got one of them converted, but wisely took the swing at the frog so that the wall spell failed, The back D Lunar's kind of helping out, casting some nice little viruses to help the front frog along. And we are cleaning out the kitchen sink of every Gensu knife we got is being flung into that back D Lunar here.
Yeah, Korgs has got to be feeling the crunch right now from that failed Twin Harp pull. But he's doing everything he can to try and make that up.
Luckily, though, we know the next fight up here completely free. Although I don't think we ever saw coffins for sale either, but you know, Hourglass and some stone, Hourglass weak, Hourglass fatal, all kinds of ways to knock it out in a minute.
Yeah, if you're feeling saucy, you don't even need the Hourglass. Just go straight for the stone, it'll probably be fine. Actually, no, that spot hits actually pretty hard. You don't really wanna chance that. Especially with the attacks coming out in clusters like that.
Dusty here, taking the safety save.
Oh,
the Dwarf Axe for -5 agility. Clever, clever, clever. I like it.
Found in the very first set of treasure checks in the very game. From that very early public treasury in Troya, Chekhov's Dwarf Axe.
Finally going off in Act 3. And Dusty also having that moment there. Oh, like, wait, I have a second Adamant armor. Where'd I put that? Loading up these two big Zerkers. It's going to be the Kane and Ed show here at Zeromus. And yeah, there are the flags. We're in the Lunar Core. You know what it's time for. Neon, roll that beautiful butt footage. What are we asking?
Oh, as we know here, this is a randomizer. Everything in the game is randomized, but we are not moving the final challenge of the game. Nothing else in the fight really makes for a great final boss. So, we have Zeromus. He's got to be randomized somehow. We give him cute costumes, we give him prosthetic butts, and now we need to know, whose butt are we gonna kick tonight? I should have dragged it out a little longer, because we don't get to see it yet.
It'll be there. It's okay.
Hold on. We came here for... Ooh. Straight up out on the stone, immediately takes that. Very nicely done from Korgs. Yes, how many butts? How cute is this butt? Does the butt have a hat? That is a fantastic question. I have never even considered it.
I think that technically counts as a hat. I know that chat in the free enterprise community has been really considering what defines a hat. Is a helmet a hat? Is a bandana a hat? Is a full face mask a hat? What is your determining feature of hat? Are you hat chaotic? Hat lawful?
Well, as the representative here of Team Gaia Hat, I am, I think, a certified hat expert. And I feel comfortable saying that as a professional doctor of hatology, a hat is on your head. It covers your head. It does not cover your face. It is a hat. That ninja masky thing, that's not a hat. That's a ninja masky thing.
All right. Cool. Well, I'm sure.
But remember, remember, your head is a calzone.
Okay. Well, that clears things up for everyone, I'm sure. Everyone understands. Everyone's on the same page now. We've heard the authority from Neon Gray.
Doctor of Hatology.
Doctor of Hatology. You're the most haberdashing commentator I work with.
Wow.
Anyway, this is Shadowmus. It's from one of the Space Channel 5 games. We have 2 adamant armors, and we're zerking. We have 2,600 HP on Rosa, 2,900 on Edge, 3,300 plus on Kane. No danger here. Dusty should clean this up just fine with all of that amazing T-Wildish Adamant Cup loot.
Even that late Sid Anchor edition, doing perfectly acceptable work there. Rosa just holding her turn.
Like, you may not even need to do a Cure 4 at all.
Yeah, like,
we'll
I would be comfortable just dropping Rosa entirely from the queue at this point, but this is, of course, safer just in case, having her at the ready to drop a Cure 4, because you may not need it, but it's not going to hurt.
Absolutely. And one important thing to note here is that just that one Twin Harp Chet, Korgs was ahead this entire seed through the completion of the moon, just a couple steps ahead of Dusty, 1 to 2 minutes tops the entire way through. But that one check, choosing to be the hero of the people, cost him dearly. I think these other fights, and we see a swag walk going right to Z, no saves required with this team, with this loadout. Just impressive play. Like, again, except for that one thing, did all the checks Dusty did and a little faster. So, very important. I'm kind of hoping we get a rematch between these two in the group, because it's just been such a great match tonight.
Yeah,
and GG's Dusty.
Yes, GG to you, Dustygriff. Very nicely played. Literally came down to a slightly better call with what to do coming down from the moon. I hear that sound. Is that a Dustygriff with us right now?
Hello.
GG's,
Hello.
Dusty. Well done.
Good. Thank you.
Well, you should be sweating a little bit. Korgs was right ahead of you by about just like a minute and a half. Nearly that entire seed came down to him going for the music, as only someone named microKorgs could, and you just went for the double check, got the full payoff. But amazing race to watch back, neck and neck the entire way. Minor party composition differences accounting for the only early game stuff. You're now 3-1, I believe. How are you feeling in this Dragoon Helm group?
I'm feeling pretty good. I haven't been playing a ton of Free Enterprise the last little while, just due to the business, the play stuff and everything. So I've been trying to shake off the rust, and this race probably felt like the first time that I felt maybe not back to my old form as much, but certainly the best of what I've done so far this tournament. I think I felt like, while I wasn't like totally clean or whatever, it was as clean as I could hope to be. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty decent. We'll have to see what happens against Rex on Sunday, but yeah, it's coming together pretty decently. 3-1's not so bad, so I'll take it.
Yeah, what time is that match on Sunday? Do you have that information handy?
Same time as today. So I had 3 matches this week, and they were all at 7 p.m. Eastern. So same thing, 7 p.m. Eastern.
Gotcha. Neon, any questions about what you saw with Dusty's route choices and loot options and party comp that seed?
I do have one question here. Just looking over the seed as a whole, just looking at the characters fell out, what's the latest possible time there that you might have taken a Cecil if he had deigned to show up?
That's a good question, actually, because I was kind of thinking the same thing. It probably would have been, the latest time would have been the LST character, I think. So when I went up to Moon and saw Yang there, if it was Cecil then, I still would have taken it, I think, because I would have just popped the siren and probably have replaced Kane at that point and just, leaned on the Cecil, because I think it would be a better replacement, but with the X-Scout. But yeah, after that is just too much experience and not enough time to even worry about dealing with Cecil. I was hoping for it for so long, because that Edlon Castle play early and getting the X-Cal and stuff, and not much else from Edlon Castle. That was like the one thing I was hoping to bank on a little bit from that, and didn't give me much from it here. But Yeah, everything else worked out nicely. I got decent swords for Edge, and then ended up with Kane pretty geared and everything like that. So it ended up being kind of autopilot after a little bit. And I felt like I was moving quite fast once I started getting to the swing of things on Moon. But up to the Moon, it was just felt super slow this seed.
Yeah, these key items, especially before the Moon, that was just whiff after whiff.
Yeah, that doesn't help, and it really feels like when you feel like you're going slow, I think it makes you go even slower for some reason. So like if you're like 40 minutes in and you got 3 key items, it just like I don't know, takes the wind out of your sails or something. So, but luckily Moon started paying off, and then once that happened and getting levels, and it just felt like everything was coming to play. I felt like how I routed Moon into doing the Giant into doing launching the Falcon felt really clean, so I was happy with that. But it was a slog up to that point.
Yeah, that I think really is where the seed came together. Otherwise, too, we know now that I think the only thing that Feymarch could have had was the pass. How much was those 2 checks that were very, very, very notable? How much were they looting?
They were. It's interesting because the reason why I did Giant coming straight out of Moon instead of doing checks was, well, it was convenient because I could just go down to, the reason why I did launch Falcon right after Giant rather than doing checks was I wanted to just be placed right in front of Tower of Babel, and then finish Tower of Babel and run right to Feymarch, because I felt so bad leaving that Feymarch open for so long, but I also felt like it was gross enough that I didn't think Korgs would really want to do it either. And also it just didn't feel like a particularly good play early. It feels weird for me to do that because I am the type that, as most people probably know if they watch my play, that I want to clear everything before I move on. So leaving that behind feels pretty bad, but it would have been going back down and kind of at that point where that was pre my adamant armor and all that. It would have been not, the Magus Sister fight probably wouldn't have been so bad, but the Mom Bomb wouldn't have been the best. And yeah, it wouldn't have been the funnest thing to go through. So I felt pretty good about that, honestly, leaving that alone. And okay about moving on.
Oh, makes sense. Yeah, it is, doable but ugly. I think that's all the questions I have. GG again. Fantastic play there.
Thank you both for commentating. I appreciate it.
Hey, have a great night. Pleasure to watch you as always. Let's see if we can get Korgs in here for an interview next. And don't forget that next Dusty match to see his place in the group Sunday at 7 Eastern. Hey, there we are, joined by microKorgs. microKorgs, GG, sir.
Thank you very much. That was a fun little race.
Yeah, not to I know this is bitter consolation. You were close to going 5-0, but you were ahead of Dusty by roughly 1 minute that entire seed. And the only thing that bit you was choosing to be the musician of the people, going to Cave Magnus. That was it. That was the one thing. Other than that, leading basically wire to wire. Very impressive to see. You're 4-1 now. How are you feeling in your group? What are you looking to play out with the rest of your Dragoon Helm members over the next couple days?
Yeah, I mean, if only there was an emote that would have directed me away from Cave Magnus. I'm not sure if such emote exists. All I know is an emote with the spotlight, and I follow the spotlight, and it led me there. And it didn't pay off, but against an opponent of Dusty's caliber, I obviously didn't know that I was running a little ahead. I said, I have a feeling Dusty's going to do tower stuff first, so let me try this. And if that had been rat to pink, that would have been pretty thrilling. I assume that was our Cecil because that was the package. But as far as going forward, not that I wasn't already, but I guess I have to be the world's biggest Rex Banner fan and see how well he can hold up against Dusty. Because I think if Rex wins, I think that means I win the group, or at least I don't know all the permutations. Of course, if Dusty wins, I think that means there's a rematch, and that would be a lot of fun too.
Absolutely exciting either way. And you know what? I do just have to thank you for being the hero of the people. You did give us the music, and I say this a lot. It's cheesy, but You may not have won the seed. But you won all of our hearts.
Excellent. When do I collect the hearts? Oh, I have them already, is what you're saying.
Yes. They are not redeemable for cash. I'm sorry.
Okay, I accept the metaphorical gift with love.
But yeah, fantastic play, wire to wire. Like again, you watch this back and you're gonna be like, oh, like you should feel really great about it. It's weird to think about it that way, but it was really great to watch. What were you thinking though with that early key item distribution, whammy after whammy after whammy? Like, what was your expectation around like halfway through the seed? What were you thinking about before that darkness crystal popped? Just what was your plan once you had seen all those zonks?
Well, I guess I had to make the choice. Am I going to try the summon spots down in the Fey March? I did have gear to go against the Magus Sisters. I don't think that would have been too tough when I could have done it. But I did, of course, commit to the moon, always seeking on this flag set that Cecil with an X-Cal and a power shirt at the time, and assuming at some point I'd probably run into an Adamant, if not on the moon, then definitely from the objective. So, yeah, I definitely wanted to... once I saw Yang was on the moon, and I figured the team was strong enough to tackle the moon, so I went for that. And decided to let Feymarch beat me, and I guess we figured out that Feymarch had the pass. So the whole time I'm thinking, even if I'm a little bit ahead, maybe Dusty, the completionist runner that he typically is, maybe he did the Feymarch and is going to beat me by the pass lengths. So a lot of things were going through my head.
Gotcha. Well,
Yeah.
GG's again. Neon, do you have any other questions based on what we saw? Other than just being impressed like I am?
Yeah, no, I think we pretty well covered it. Yeah, just a fantastic watch overall. Just, like, it was absolutely great just seeing the two of you, weave through the checks, back and forth and around each other and just doing things slightly differently. And yeah, like, you'd get a minute or so here, he'd get a minute or so there, and, it just, the way it all just ran together. Fantastic watch. Thank you both for running it.
For the whole team doing the restream, yeah, sometimes it's hard to watch back losses, but I definitely don't feel bad about this racing Dusty like that. And I get to race some more, whether it's directly in the brackets or at least one more tiebreaker or play-in or whatever those scenarios are. I'm looking forward to my next one. Thanks again.
Hopefully you get one last chance with that Cecil.
He's always desired. He's always welcome to my party.
Yes. Stop waiting a package, Cecil.
Have a good night.
Hey.
You too, microKorgs. Take care. All right, y'all. Well, that was a heck of a race. And like Korg said, there's a chance at a rematch to determine who wins this group. So very exciting to see how the remaining Dragoon Helm matches play out this weekend. But in the meantime, speaking of exciting matches, Neon, where are we headed tonight?
Well, it looks like there is currently a race going on, RPG LV, where right now Poydrak and Lord Bob Bree are facing off. So we are going to head over there. Everybody, make sure not to spoil a hint of this race. There will be trained spoiler whappers armed with newspapers waiting by the exits. They will be listening. Do not get the bunk.
Good night, everyone. Take care.